Ayan, sasakay na naman kami ng Shoreline. Tiriring after sa Centennial Wheel pala. Sasakay na naman kami. Nag-antay kami sa oras namin. Mga alas 4:30. Ayan, nag-antay muna kami. Dito na kami sa tabi ng ilog. So, sasakay kami mamaya. Tour kami mamaya. Doon papunta sa Ewan. Tingnan natin mamaya mga kabala. Medyo pagod na. Ang init pa naman. Init na again. Right na. Last day na. See you later. Oh. Pliti. Pliti. Pretty. So, bisa mo katiya.
Katiya ko ba ito?
Pretty. Yeah.
Katiya. Your imagination. That's about $2 worth. Everything you're looking at is gorgeous and established. This big modern American city is actually built upon a swamp. This is an American Indian wilderness that was a marsh. In fact, in the 1850s and 60s, they had to jack up everything that was built. I'm talking Mason literally lifted this city out of the swamp. Which begs the question, why would you build a city in the swamp in the first place? Well, feel the water underneath you. It's coming from right over here over to the left hand. The water. Watch out for the music. Don't fool it. Take a look at this. My hotel. Sure is pretty. Now Chicago, of course, has to invent the skyscraper. New York City didn't do it because they didn't have to. Because they had so much bedrock in Chicago and swamp. They figured out a very special way to hold up buildings. So let me show you one of our newest specialist buildings. Look straight ahead. And on the left hand side, you can see this gorgeous trio of buildings. If you really want to see the top of it, you might want to cover your head above the top because it's pretty powerful. But this new trio of buildings is the city's new third tallest. It's on the same regions. It's by a local architect. Her name is Jeannie Yang. Now you can look at the base of the building and see the shape that Jeannie Yang is working here. It's called custom. So you can see, imagine taking a pyramid, stretch it until you get kind of a rectangular trapezoid, and chop the top. That is custom. And she's going to use that to start the base of every tower. Then she'll flip one over so it's upside down, put that on top. She'll go right side up, upside down, right side up. So the effect of that, as you look, are these wavy towers. Now look at the base of the building and notice that she is using curves to create corners in the same thing. That's the name she can't explain on there. If you do like your 17 floors on the top, you notice there are 2 open floors there, and that's called a below-groove. That was not intended in the original plan. That comes later because Chicago's a windy city. The wind was pushing those buildings around. But imagine if you have the penthouse, right? You're up there and you're $18.5 billion property, and you're experiencing what? As the building swings back and forth. Hers, of course, are aerodynamic. Now, once you get past the very tip of Aqua here, or the tip of the Triangle Hotel here, which is actually Luxus Hotel, you get a gorgeous look at these balconies. These are obviously flowing concrete balconies, which are of course aerodynamic. But more importantly, you'll notice that they swell out in places where views are best for residents on the inside. They're like waves disappearing. As the tide goes out, they disappear where views disappear. Let's take a hard look and see if you can spot any railings. Architects on created land under that figure, right? Right behind her, St. Bridges Forest Trust Tower, that's the 2nd tallest building in the city of Chicago. Built by Adrian Smith. He is another local architect. If anybody's been to Dubai, or if you're from there, you've actually seen, of course, the world's tallest building, Burj Khalifa. First he built this, then he built that gorgeous white building. Because the Trump Tower is surrounded by these 2 great things. First, let's talk about the beautiful white one. As we get a little closer, you can see it's a building that was built in 2 phases, 1921 on the left, 1924 on the right. And this is called the Wrigley Door. So when you look at the gorgeous white tile, you're looking at the former headquarters of the Wrigley Corporation. Think about Wrigley Chicago, think about Wrigley Field when it comes to baseball. This is where headquarters. But more importantly, look at the building itself. And see if you can't see the Renaissance Spanish cathedral that inspired the base of the building. The French cathedral spires on top. This whole building is a love letter to the European people. For the first 40 years of American skyscraper building, we were very indebted to ideas of European beauty. We put them up on buildings all over the city. Now let me show you one more of these European-inspired skyscrapers. It's just above these white umbrellas. So look dead ahead. You can see this line of white umbrellas. Bring your eyes straight up. There it is. You're going to see a building with these face forward 2 Roman temples. Big tower, big Roman temple on top. This is how the jewelers built. Again, there's that covered in European beauty. As you get a little closer, ask yourself, the feeling that this building gives you, it's it's not heavy like a castle. If you've ever seen a stone-supported building, you feel the weight of all the material when you look at it. Notice how you do not get that feeling when you look at the George building. It's because, of course, the skyscraper is defined by the steel frame underneath it, right? So the steel underneath it props up all that snow, and of course, it lifts this building up as well. Now the idea here is that steel is, of course, a superpower, so the steel skyscraper was sparing people, so they wanted to make buildings beautiful to take the edge off that. The idea is that the net result of this building would be peaceful. So if you're on your tour and you want to find out if you think the building's beautiful, just ask yourself, does it make me feel peaceful? Going around the bend here, I want to show you two of the most distinctive buildings on our skyline. You see them once, you'll never forget them. They're identical twins, and we lovingly nicknamed them the Corn Dog Towers. Here they go. They go in the mid-to-late 60s. Double-decker layers below. This is all a vertical village. We wanted to develop community, closeness, networking, and that sense of people coming together. We literally trying to build a brand new neighborhood here in the mid-1960s. So if you look down below, you'll see river connectivity, you'll see restaurants and bars. The House of Blues is that tortoiseshell shape back there. That was the movie theater for the residents. There's restaurants, bars, and even that Jewel Hall downtown market. All this in the late 1960s, 2-bedroom with a low price out, waterfront property, $235 a month. We want beauty and connectivity. Let me show you the architecture. The idea is that architecture is drama. Very theatrical. His name's Ricardo Lofil. This building coming up on the left. Now he's Catalonian. Cool, the perfect weather for this. As you go by this building, you like your left. Look about halfway up. You notice a mirrored version of Chicago sky. That's what he wants to play with. Now, this flat outline. If you look closer, pillars, flat pillars. And if you let it pull your eye all the way up, you can see he smashed a great temple right in the image of those moving clouds. That's the angle they want you to see this building from. If you get a chance, take a look at. Imagine where a building moves in 5 years ago, and what's the honor? Just look west of Chicago history. So in embeds in the base of this building called River Point, a little symbolism of Midwestern American expansion. So if you look at the base, you're going to see, of course, the base symbol is orange. Now notice the sort of shiny curve of the last one. In that back here, I don't know if anybody saw this, but bridges always rise on Saturdays this time of year, so they should have gone up this morning. But every bridge will pass under is a working drawbridge. They lifted 10 inches. If you want to see how engine half the size of the engine in your car will lift double-decker highway bridges, just look at the back of that old railroad bridge. See that counterweight there after that bridge? That essentially is basically a teeter-totter system. It's got designed into a bridge called the Chicago Side Bridge. So they use the counterweight to light below, and of course these bridges are. It's from 1909. We call it the Carolina Bridge. Right across the river, there's an old warehouse for ice. We're getting all these balconies and all these windows, and this was a giant service in the 1980s. Train cars were down the up and head on down to the slaughterhouse. We can of course ship beef to New York City. We just need a network of these space warehouses all along the route. The early 1980s, the Chicago architect punches through, creates this massive 4-foot thick balconies, turns this into a residential property. And then just a handful of years later, in 1989, he builds 4 sailboat-inspired river cottages. There's next door. Take a look at these townhouses. If you walk in there's 3 floors on the bottom that are the living space, 3 floors on top of each unit that are the bedrooms, and then 6 floors on deck. And they want to create this river view inspired by sailboats on the outside. So look at the spiral staircases, the portal windows, and of course even those skylights. The spirit of the books designed by Gary Beast. And here's of course another kayaking place. Take a look. Greg, as we execute a turnaround, we like to build in a little refreshment break in the park. It's an excellent opportunity for us to hit the park. We've been at the museum. We were talking to take care of him. We'll take care of you. I'm going to pull my mask back up and walk around and find out if there's any questions for you. But now just sit back, relax, and just relax. Despite all that, put on the river in 1980. Take a look at the back of this building. Notice how it looks kind of under. Early 2000s, there are these townhouse condos to the water, right? Everything's pointed at the water. You get that little patio level, second story terrace, and of course my favorite, the 4th floor. There's the rooftop deck up there. Now, of course, you can imagine that these condos love the river because they're doubling their value. There's a line of these cottages, which are of course just a half block away. Now, in addition to Bala's chocolate being just 2 blocks down this bridge, you can also stand on this bridge. If you are on a bridge, it's probably the most popular spot in this city for wedding photos. So if anybody wants a photo, here's how it works. Wedding photographer stands there by the Kinzie Street side. Happy couple stands right above our heads here. And they want this view as the backdrop to their wedding. It's really lovely. If you like photos, keep your camera standing because of course we got another good one coming up in just a moment. But before we get there, we'll pass our old nice warehouse, and you're going to notice a very thin residential property here on the right-hand side. Notice it curves with the river, just by those kayakers there. Now, as you get closer, you can actually see how narrow it is. This was a little plot of land left over for 150 years. Nobody could figure out what to do with it because it was so tiny. But of course, it's on the water, so eventually they squeeze in some residential property. Now, the thing in Chicago that everybody was once is parking. And they said you can't squeeze the parking garage there if the lot is just too narrow. But they sure enough did. See that secondary level? Software in the room? It's a parking garage. But notice that you do not see ramps on either side that connect straight to the garage. Because the building is literally too narrow to park cars in and turn cars around. So they solved the problem with car elevators and steaming your cars. It's one of those associations that's called residency to river garage. Now let me show you one of my favorite views of the city. We're headed straight. That's south. That's down the old American passageway we put in the Great River. But if you look to the left, what we'll call the main branch in Chicago, you get this kind of cool view of our city. You can almost imagine it as a river carving out 2 mountains. It's just the mountains, of course, will be much. Here's one, of course, you can see St. Regis, which we talked about GEA's building. Top towers, and Western Towers. It's just a lovely view. Right ahead of us. Look at this amazing building with a gorgeous cloud of like. This is called 150 North Riverside. Now notice the basement. Look how narrow it is. Right? Pretty crazy. These structures behind it, the swells, behind it. And we look at the front of the building, just past this bridge house, and you'll notice there's something taking the land on the front. So we need to access the other side from us. Chicago pedestrians, we are afforded access to their own buildings. So that swings into the building's useful plot of land to 33 feet across, right? The building comes from, they got a bunch of 120 feet down, don't forget to get the bedrock. Then, they fill in that step, go 2 stories up to create a step, and they cantilever out to create cars aren't built on the side, but if you look, you'll notice that that says that's what creates those really wonderful reflections. But here is my favorite reflection in the building. Look at the slope below. What you do is see a weight go over high. And every front of the boat will see I'm wearing a blue shirt. And then like extra close, which is my class I'm wearing. Past the bridge, that's of course the bank of America building here. As you get a little closer to it, again, look at the lower part, look near the river, and you see the building literally moving itself out of the way to create a pedestrian corridor for all of us. The idea, of course, was sponsored by the zoning law. In other words, if you want to develop along the river, you would want some river. Hopefully they can marry that as they develop along the river to the already existing public river walk, and then public and private river walks will meet, and we'll have an passageway, unlike machine all the way to China. But here you can kind of get a sense of the glass. Look at the lower third of this glass here, you realize there's not the ground floor. Now straight ahead on the left-hand side, you can see our opera house. Again, this is the roaring 1920s. It's got jazz later and touches down. So for sleekness, look at that pinstripe suit there. Notice you'll spot our technology term. Built in 1830. As you get a little closer, you'll see more of it. Just remind yourself that World War I was a bit of a trauma. So often considered kind of a European misadventure. So it's probably related to all the European units as well as skyscrapers as the trains go up. Now if you look closer to the opera house, you'll see one little European reference on the building. Everything else is pretty sleek or theater specific. But look at the way they spell the word building. Pacific Opera Building, right? It's very usual. This of course is not the old Roman school alphabet. You know, letters until lots of people started reading next to the printing press of 1600. Now the opera has very distinctive edges to its tower. So here's the first one. If you look close, just past the bridge house, you see the tower is there sort of staring, almost like the teeth of the saw room. Take a look at that. And the reason why they would build it, they did on every single side of the tower. Use inside it. If you look close, you can see who's inside it. They're holding your lights. Really do this. So they obviously would fight for wealth and status. Now ask yourself, what's the number one symbol of wealth and status? The corner office. Well figured, right? Over 3 jobs every year. They help create extra corner offices for every floor. Basically, times they run 4 by using this sort of downward tower system. Pretty little trick. Over the right hand side, you can see 2 twin buildings coming up. If anybody remembers that TV show Mad Men, I think this is the Don Draper stuff. Right? It starts in America in the 50s. You start seeing a lot of this. If you haven't seen the shows, it takes place in the 60s essentially. It tells the story of this guy.